Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while since I made a video, but last week Resident Evil 4 Remake just got officially announced. It's been in, a rumor here for a while. I believe the rumor first started going around after Resident Evil 2 or 3 Remake came out, and I've been talking about it every so often on my channel over the last few years. But now that it's actually officially announced, I feel like it's time to sit down and have an initial thoughts on it and just some spitball ideas. This isn't going to be too deep. It's not like a trailer breakdown or anything like that. I just wanted to share my initial thoughts and reactions. So I've watched this trailer a few times, and I have some notes on certain bits I want to go over in this video. So we'll watch the video, and so yeah, let's watch the video. Obviously, it's coming out next year in March, which I know Resident Evil 3 came out in March. I want to say Resident Evil 2 did too. I can't remember. Anyway, let's just watch it. So the first thing I liked was the music. It's very fitting for the setting of the village, at least. So one thing I do like is it shows a little flashback of Leon and the President, which we never got in Resident Evil 4 other than files, which brings me to a point that I wanted to talk about is we'll get to it at the end of the video, but they have an opportunity to flesh out certain things that they couldn't 20 years ago. They could add more cutscenes like that. Instead of everything being files, we could actually see it in the game, which would be nice. So that could just be a one-off thing, but the trailer shows it, and I think that's pretty neat. And obviously, this engine is beefy. It's good. It looks nice. I mean, this is like a true okay. This scene, I remember seeing a picture of it before I actually watched the trailer, and or not. Well, I guess yeah. Anyway, um, this right here, really, the first thing I thought of when I saw this was, wow, that looks like the Resident Evil 3.5 or Resident Evil Alpha or whatever, because this is the first time we see Leon, and this like hazy blue. My cat wants out of my room. This like hazy blue background, kind of spooky, but like look at his jacket, right? Now, I mean, am I insane? That is the same jacket that he wore in the Alpha, which the Resident Evil 4 jacket is not the same as this one because it doesn't have the you know collar going all the way around the neck. Anyway, that's just a small detail that I really enjoyed was the callback on the jacket, and the atmosphere right here is different than the village when we first get in the game. I'm assuming this is like the first room he walks into, and in Resident Evil 4, it's like that, brown texture filter thing that a bunch of games in the mid 2000s had. But this, it's like, that it's just a completely different feeling. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And there's Luis, the man. The villagers look a little bit more rough. And another thing I'm excited to see is the castle. Because they got the castle set up like a cult in Resident Evil 4 with the them like worshipping the Plagas, and that's nice because I feel like it didn't like fall short in Resident Evil 4, but I feel like they can make this a lot more like sinister than they did previously. Anyway, continuing on. So there's just a little bit left after this.
If I could just forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This time, it can be different. It has to.
And I'm assuming that's when he's walking into the village, like the main stage of the, after like the intro or whatever. So it showed a lot of little stills there. I'm not going to try to like look at every single one of them, but um needless to say, you know, so let's get into some of my thoughts. I'll just have this play muted. Um so remakes are kind of a controversial thing going on because there's so many damn remakes. I mean, Resident Evil 2 was pretty well done. Resident Evil 3 was so and so. People weren't happy about it. I thought it was fine, but again, I don't put all my eggs in the remake basket. You know, I'm more, me personally, what I like more are the new installments because when you go back and you play, in an issue with remakes and remasters, just in general, when you go back and you play them, you're reliving a game that's 20 years old that you played when you were much younger. Um, it's gonna be very hard to recapture that magic and like the charm that you felt when you were that young because it's just not the same anymore. Times has changed, games are different. Resident Evil is way different than what it used to be, and I think people hold it on to a higher pedestal than it needs to be, just because they get their hopes up that certain things happen, or things do or don't happen. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is I don't want to hold this to a high standard and get excited and get my hopes up. But I'm sure Capcom understands that Resident Evil 4 is kind of their bread and butter of the entire franchise. I mean, this game, for better or worse, put Resident Evil where it is today. I mean, Resident Evil, yeah, they had a movie before Resident Evil 4 came out, but Resident Evil 4 really blew up. Um, and I would say, you know, it's my personal favorite, but I would say it's probably a lot of people's personal favorite. Everybody loves Resident Evil 4. Um, Everybody knows what the game is, even people that don't play Resident Evil. So Capcom knows they have giant shoes to fill. Like, this is not some laughing matter, one off, like, okay, fuck it, let's remake Resident Evil 4. I'm sure they have put their due diligence in it. And there's I don't know too much of the speculation. I'm honestly haven't looked too much into this game. That's why I wanted to keep my thoughts unmolested by the internet. So there are some speculations that they're going to cut stuff or add stuff, like fleshing out some background stories with Luis and stuff like that, or cutting out completely just bloat from the game that just didn't need to exist in Resident Evil 4. And I think that's fine if they do it safely and correctly, because if you cut out too much, it'll turn out like Resident Evil 3. And if you add too much, it's going to be a completely different game. So you got to have that balance. Of you remove the fat and you add stuff that makes sense. I would personally like to see some additions, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, where there's a lot of files in the game that the game doesn't really talk about itself. You just have to read it. And this game came out in 2005, so I mean it's a pretty old game. They didn't have the technology to really flesh it out like they probably wanted to. I mean, shit, on the GameCube, it was already 2 discs. So it was a beefy game for its time. But now things are a lot better. Technology is a lot more advanced, obviously. So they have the room to improve this kind of stuff. And I think it would be a welcome addition, personally, if they fleshed out certain story bits like Luis, Ada, Um, some of the background stuff that you have to read about instead of seeing. And what I'm actually most personally looking forward to them fleshing out, if they do at all, is the cult with Sadler and the Las Plagas, because that would be awesome. I think, like I was saying in the trailer, they have a lot of just more room to do these kind of things, and having some sinister, scary cult with this plague is, I mean, to me, that's scary. I mean, scary cults are scary. There's a lot of horror games like that. I mean, Outlast 2 is kind of like that. There's a lot of movies like that, and I just think that's cool. And they already did that in Resident Evil 4, so it's not like they're just shoehorning it in just to add it. I mean, they just need to flesh it out a little bit more, make it a little bit more frightening. Because Resident Evil 4 wasn't really supposed to be scary, I don't think. I mean, it had its moments, but they can really turn Resident Evil 4 into like a straight horror game without changing too much. Altogether, I mean, I would say obviously Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game. So, am I excited for it? Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not going to get my hopes up. It doesn't come out for a year. I mean, I'm not going to forget about it, obviously, but I'm just not going to sit here. I don't get my hopes up for games anymore just because I got other things going on. And most of the time, whenever I'm looking forward to a game, it comes out sucking. Or I just don't enjoy it as much as I did. Or enjoy it as much as I wanted to. So, um, time will tell. I'm assuming they just dropped an announcement in June. So I'm assuming probably by the end of the year they'll drop another big giant trailer showing a little bit more off. I mean, this is definitely just a teaser. There's nothing here for real. They'll probably come out with some sort of trailer in December or something like that, and we'll have a lot more to go off on. But as of right now, we know that's coming out next year. We know it's in the works. It'll probably get delayed. I mean, let's just be real here. It'll probably come out. I don't want to jinx it. But anyway, hopefully at least it comes out sometime next year. But this is just this, like I said, this video is just raw, and I wanted to talk about my initial thoughts because I've been thinking about it. I do want to sit down and actually like come up with ideas of things I would like to see in the next game, a little bit more fleshed out thoughts. But that's not what I'm doing here today. That will come out sometime later in the week. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. That's just straight off the top. That's what I'm thinking about the game. I'm going to try to be a little bit more active here now because, I mean, Resident Evil 4 is my personal bread and butter on the channel. That's what I started out doing. And I'll be damned if I let this go under the radar for me. This has been, Resident Evil 4 was, a staple for me growing up. So, it's going to be really cool playing it in my mid 20s, completely remade. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to end it here. We'll talk about it more in the future. I'll do some streams here soon, and we'll just bullshit and discuss it further. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.